What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with Dark Outpost, and it seems like in every form of entertainment right now, there are people that are trying to push you not to view it as simply that, entertainment, not to view it as a form of escapism that you can enjoy, but instead, look at everything through today's current political landscape, or whatever's going on right now in form of societal injustices. And that's what we have today, with someone going after World of Warcraft for one of the dumbest reasons you could possibly imagine. And they're getting all the hate that they deserve for this terrible take. Let's take a look. Blizzard Watch. Now more than ever, Blizzard needs to rethink WoW's race war. Yes, because what's going on right now in society should make people change something that is so important about a game and so integral to the entire existence of this game that's been around since early 2000s. I think 2004 is when World of Warcraft first came out. The most successful MMORPG of all time, right? That's what needs to be changed, because there's a couple people using a hashtag and in the streets talking about current day societal topics. Yeah. And when I said that they're getting all the hate they deserve, you can see that they did tweet it out. Of course, this is getting ratioed to hell. Nearly every comment is just absolutely roasting them, right? Just destroying them. You have one person not roasting them, an excellent read and something that needed to be said. Thank you. Of course, this person got ratioed in the comments. But let's take a look at why they think we need to end the race war. One of the reasons Mists of Pandaria is my favorite expansion in terms of lore and story is because it's Blizzard's Platoon. An old 80s reference, because by gaming standards, I'm an old man now. Of course, Platoon did let you view Vietnam in a slightly different light, right? It wasn't just straight, oh, good guys versus bad guys. There was more to it than that. And I actually kind of see where he's going with that, because I think even before Mists of Pandaria in World of Warcraft, and to be very clear, I'm not a huge World of Warcraft person. I did play for 5-6 months. I tried to really get into it with a bunch of my friends. I didn't get quite as into it as they did. This was probably 7-8 years ago. But I still really enjoy World of Warcraft. I enjoyed the world and the lore and the story behind it all. But it's not just, hey, alliance good, horde bad. If you think that, then maybe you didn't play as each, or maybe you just wanted to see it as a certain way. Because when you do play as the horde, they have their own reasons for doing these things, as well as the alliance. They have their own reasons for what they are doing and why they are part of that faction. So I think even without Mists of Pandaria, you kind of had that. But I do understand what he's saying. Platoon put itself in opposition to most war films the preceding decades that glorified combat. Put bravery rather than empathy as the highest virtue. Pandaria offered an outside impression of the faction war. Instead of glorifying the faction war that breaks out, Blizzard chose to show us the war's awful cost. It does show you what happens in this peaceful land when war just absolutely wrecks it. So I get that. In the story's finale, two factions, and by all extensions all of Azeroth's main races, come together to defeat Garrosh. But, of course, there's a freaking typo here. This should be but, not bit. This conclusion could have been even more powerful. It could have been the end of race-based factions. There have been plenty of moments in WoW's history where racist freaks faction worked together. This was one of the most poignant, bringing the world together to fight by the side of the heart of the Horde's territory. But they instead opted for the status quo to remain. Yes, the status quo. The status quo, which has led to, again, the most successful MMO that we've ever seen in World of Warcraft. And it's very simple. Not everything has to have this freaking deep meaning. A lot of times the mechanics in these games are very simple. Listen, if you want to play as a human, as a dwarf, whatever, you have to play for the Alliance, right? And they all have their specific advantages and disadvantages of being those races. If you want to be an orc, if you want to be a night elf, you have to play for the horde. Now, with Mists of Pandaria, Pandarians are allowed to choose whether they want to play as Alliance or Horde. So you already do have a player with that option. But that's not enough. Not enough for that. You have to have all the races be able to decide whatever they want. Now, what they do right here It's time to move past fantasy tropes. It's not just about World of Warcraft, it's also about Tolkien. We have to bring his works down. And it seems like anything that uses the word orc right now is under attack. For some reason, all of these weirdos are really upset with anything that has orcs as some sort of playable character or part of a faction. Whether it's Lord of the Rings, whether it's WoW, whether it's Dungeons and Dragons. Orcs are a very hot topic right now. Very strange, but it is what it is. Race-based conflicts go back to the very origins of fantasy, and they talk about Lord of the Rings and about how they're split along racial lines. This is fantasy. That is just what it is. And in order to tell this grand story, a lot of times, one of the things that happens are races are put into certain things. It's not some allegory for exactly what's happening today. It's just a fantasy storyline. People that are trying to look at every single form of entertainment through this kaleidoscope of 2020 politics, 2020 identity politics, you're fucking stupid. Like, that, you can't even enjoy these things because that's all you're looking for. Most normal people aren't looking for that. Most normal people are looking for escapism, not to be entrenched in the same bullshit that we see day after day after day on TV with people trying to divide us. That shouldn't be the way it is when we try to play our video games. They talk about how Battle for Azeroth, there was another opportunity to unite them, but instead they didn't. Now, why did they not do this? Why did they not do this? Let's see. Instead, Blizzard opted to keep the world's races locked in never-ending conflict with one another. When asked about it, they doubled down on the factions as integral to the game world. Guess what they are? I just told you guys how I tried to get into WoW a little bit later, right? I tried to get into WoW a little bit later. You still have to go through all of these initial quests. You're still living in this world that you have to go through these initial quests, these storylines to level up, unless you're using one of the fast pass like tokens or whatever to immediately level up a character. And it is that is important to the entire way that everyone is going to start the game and play all of these expansions. If you all of a sudden changed it, it wouldn't make sense for the characters starting in this world, which again, an MMO, it wouldn't make sense for them for all the factions to be mixed in those scenarios. They have created an entire world and story based on this lore, and you want them to change it because there are a couple people using hashtags right now, because it's popular to use a hashtag right now in 2020. You should change something that has been around since 2004. That's how these weirdos think. And then, of course, what are we talking about? Racism in the modern political spotlight. Talks about Black Lives Matter. Talks about George Floyd. Talks about racial injustices that are happening through the United States and elsewhere. Many changes, big and small, have come about as a result. Now more than ever, it's time to end WoW's race war. It's time to let factions be factions, not racial segregation. Let faction pride be in a set of beliefs, not prejudice. For the Horde and for the Alliance are two opposing rallying cries. But when you think about it, listen to this. When you think about it, are these cries really any different from shouting, and I'm going to put it in quotes, white power in America today? Yes, it is. This is not about America. This is about a fantasy fucking land. About Alliance versus Horde. What are you talking about? You are espousing a subset of races as superior to others as your team. You as a character in Azeroth are fighting for dominance of those races over the enemy races. This never felt completely okay. Are you kidding? You're telling me in 2004 you were like, oh, I don't know about this. I don't know about playing as a human. I'm oppressing these orcs. Is that really what you were saying when you played this game? You little fucking weirdo. What is your name? Hold on. Scott F. Andrews. Scott F. Andrews. There you go. He talks about how they've already taken steps. They've introduced a transgender character. Yeah, everyone was really clamored about that. Good thing they put that in there. It's going to really drive a huge fan base now to go play WoW because they put a transgender character in there. He talks about how the game could change if they took his suggestions. I'm sure he's got a lot of great ideas. But of course, like I said, and like Blizzard has said themselves, the entire game is built upon this lore that they keep building on. To go and change something like that would change everything about how the game is played. And when you are running something so successful, why the hell would you do that just to appease some weirdos online? Spoiler alert, you wouldn't. Basically, this guy just wants to change everything about World of Warcraft because it doesn't align with how he views it through a current day kaleidoscope, essentially. And that is a problem in entertainment right now. And one of the big problem is some people are actually listening to fucking weird people like this who want them to do that, when the vast majority of people don't want that. They don't want this kind of stuff put into their games. They don't want current day politics in their gaming. Regardless of what side of the political landscape you sit, people don't want, most people don't want politics and current day allegories and stuff like that in their games. They want escapism. And the sooner these people realize that and ignore weirdos like this online, the better off we will be. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching, everyone. And a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.